Welcome to Dad Jitsu.
Hi.
I'm Henry.
I'm Steve.
And we are going to talk about Jiu-Jitsu for maybe the next hour. Who knows?
It was an hour last time.
It was an hour last time. I was impressed by that.
And it was, we've got new mics, haven't we now? And then we decided to record it last time in 4K, which made a big difference. But my
Upgrading.
God.
And we're just going to check we're recording in 4K again.
Okay, yeah.
Stand by. Don't know how to check. I'm pretty sure I am. We haven't changed it.
Yeah, okay. But my God, was that a big file?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it was like...
You say it was 20 gig?
I think it was like 27 gig or something like that.
Really? That's
Well, it said it
absolutely
in
enormous.
megs though, so I was confused.
Oh, okay. 27
Like it said,
gigs,
like-
absolutely enormous.
And so I was like, oh, I'll just delete, it said like 21,000 like meg, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I'll just delete some videos. And then it's like, you still need to delete 17,000 meg. I'm like, I just deleted loads of videos. Like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah. Big one for you guys.
It's all about you guys.
Yeah. What's been going on this week? Steve's got a poorly elbow.
Still, it's nearly there, nearly better. But I still can't train,
Yeah.
which is annoying.
Staph.
Yeah.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, I went into well, I didn't go into sepsis. That's not true. But it very nearly did.
Is that what they said at the hospital?
They said if I'd have left it, it could have gone into sepsis. Yeah.
It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And it was just I did a gig at the weekend, and it got progressively worse throughout the course of the gig, and then I got to the stage where I was driving home, and I couldn't even drive home with it. It was just like so sore. It was throbbing like mad. And I woke up in the morning, and Vic, my wife, was like, "We're going to A&E."
Yeah.
So I spoke to you boys, didn't I? And Henry used to be a nurse, so he was like, "Yeah, definitely go and see a doctor now."
From the start,
Yeah.
I just said, go to the doctors, get it sorted out. You're like, I'm too busy. I'm like,
Yeah. It was just one of those situations where you're like, "Oh, I've got so much to do. I pick the kids up. I got to do this. I got work. I got that. But it's just one of them situations, isn't it? Where you just
bad.
Yeah, but it didn't go into sepsis. But it was definitely really infected, and it was really sore.
Yeah.
But it's just taken a while as well to go. It's like really kind of what's called pitting edema, where you press it on your hand and then the pit just stays there for a sec.
Yeah.
For quite a while, and just like I've been like this trying to move it. So it's nearly there now, but I've been banging some fairly hefty antibiotics.
Yeah.
All week.
I think this is the thing. If you've got say you've just started training, or you've got kids who have started training, it's a weird thing to talk to children about. Obviously, you tell them to have a bath, they don't want to have a bath, whatever, they don't want to brush their teeth. But we need to talk to them at the kids class about it, really, about you need to be checking your body to make sure you've not got any red circles on your body, spots that are a bit tender and sore and getting a bit hot, because you can't just ignore these things, they're serious and they might infect other people, and you need to deal with them. And
Absolutely.
So parents need to be aware of that, if their kids are training, that ringworm's a problem, staph's a problem.
Yeah.
You can't just be training with these sort of things. I noticed one of the kids who loves jiu-jitsu, but I need to I'm going to bring in some nail clippers and give them to him and be just not as you need to cut, but you should always keep this in your bag, and every time you come to train, just cut your nails, because he loves it so much, but sometimes I've noticed he's got slightly long nails.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't know, really. No. You wouldn't know unless someone says.
No, that's right.
But, you need to just be a bit more...
Yeah, it's a funny old thing to have given yourself a little pedicure before you start your sport, isn't it?
Yeah, but I used to never cut my nails when I was a kid.
No.
I always had really long nails.
Right.
And I remember I didn't really I used to bite them when they get too long. But I'm talking long. They're
like talons.
Probably half a centimetre long. And then I'd bite them. I never used to using the clippers.
Oh, really?
Whereas now I love using the clippers. I hate biting. But the kids, Louis bites his nails. He's never had long nails. And after a few years, I'm I've never, with Ruben, you have to get in, bite them or whatever. We're always having to do his nails. But with his, I was we've never cut his nails. Where are they? Are they not growing? And I said to him, and he was like, no, I just bite them. I was like, oh,
right. It's just such a lad.
I've not taught you that.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, just worked it out. Primal.
Just, yeah. That's too long. I'll rip that off my teeth.
His hair's never grown either. He's just biting it off.
Just bites that off, yeah, it's a funny one. Both mine definitely need those cut, and they need to be in a body triangle to keep them still while they're doing it. Neither of them are fans of it. But I don't know, because I play guitar. I find if with the clippers, because I
You always do. You're like pro though. You've got like I saw the other day, and you opened up like a multi-pack of like nail buffers.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy.
Yeah, because the amount of times because the amount of times I've done it and I've cut them and not kind of filed them properly, and then you get a nail ripped off when you grab someone's gi or something. It's like I've got a gig that night and my finger's knackered now.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So it's more just that.
You can't cut it too. Do you ever cut it too far though, and then like the bit under the nail gets a bit like swollen and sore? And if you're playing guitar, that must be really hard.
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, it's a real sweet spot. You got to try and cut them close enough where they're obviously not going to get in the way, but not too close. You can feel it as soon as you cut them too close. You're just like, that one's. I've overdone it there.
Yeah. Have you ever, like some guitarists like to keep long fingernails though, don't they? Or like one long fingernail. So
some of them, believe it or not, actually put fake nails on these 3 fingers and their thumb so they can pick with them.
Really?
Yeah. I just think that's, even before jiu-jitsu, I'm like, that is such an unpractical thing, to do. I mean, I tried.
Do they make them look all like sparkly? And stuff?
They should do. If you're going to do it, a lot of them, they just keep them plain. It's like, if you're going to do it, then like commit.
Yeah.
Have
like bejeweled.
Yeah, or just have like one particular colour. Yeah, exactly.
Is that it? I don't know.
But I tried growing them when I was younger, but I don't have that particularly thick nails like some people, so I tried growing them to do finger picking, and the strings would just shred them.
Right, yeah.
So I just got to the stage, I'm like, I'm just not one of them guys.
Yeah, I remember cutting my nail off when I used to be a chef. I was cutting like parsley or something like that sort of
that
motion.
way as well.
Yeah, and it like cut off, like went down through the nail.
Yeesh.
And I remember like I was a bit of a wimp back then, and I was like losing it, and I actually was like, I've got to go home. I need the day off. I think I just wanted to have a day off, basically. Go home and get stoned. But like, I was just like, well, look, I can't work with this. Like, I've got to go home. Now, if I was my boss, I'd be like, you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Get a plaster on that. Get back in the kitchen now.
Put your blue plaster on.
Shut up, you fucking snowflake.
So true.
Dear. So funny. Right, we got some questions. Thank you for sending your questions. They're always useful.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Let's find out. We've got some good ones today, actually.
Yeah,
send them over to Steve.
Find them on my phone. Number 1 is... Well, let's do number 2, actually. What were your longest periods away from jiu-jitsu, and how did they impact your progression? Now, you spoke about this a little while ago, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, COVID, obviously, was probably...
That was the big one. We could all relate to that.
Most people's longest. So...
Well, let's start with that. How did you find the COVID period affect you and your game and your frustration during, and what did you do in that period? You did a lot of like online stuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
In terms of your training.
My business is PT. So we went online and we were like running like online classes via Zoom. So I would... what were we doing? Yeah, we had like a training plan. We just adapted the training plan.
Yeah.
And 5 people had long run via Zoom, and everyone would be working out at home. I've got like a load of equipment, so I just delivered that out to people. And so everyone had like 2 kettlebells of different sizes. Mm-hmm. People like used like cat litter bags and things like that.
Really?
And they were all training. And sometimes I'd train with them. I had a couple of kettlebells. And so I would train at home, which was pretty like shit. Like now we are sat in a garage which has got like a full gym set up. You can't see it. Behind that there's like a squat rack, fucking like jammer arms, ski erg, bench, adjustable dumbbells. Like you can do everything, like a full gym. We've got like mats here we can do jiu-jitsu on, but we didn't move in here until like the last 2 weeks of COVID. So it was all too little too late. So we probably had, I can't remember like the longest stretch in COVID, because we were a bit naughty and did a bit of training in COVID. I found like a splinter cell, a Black Ops splinter cell, who were training. They were like a load of MMA fighters. So I just went and trained with them, because a lot of it was grappling. And like when they were doing like shadow boxing and stuff, I would just do like shadow wrestling, and then we come together and most of it was grappling. I did a bit of pad work and throwing punches and stuff, and it was fun. But yeah, most of it was grappling, so that was good. I can't remember when I started doing that. There was a good probably 3 months, maybe more, of like no grappling at all.
Yeah.
And then it was like once or twice a week with those guys, and then obviously the bubbles came back in as classes sort of started back. So But it was shit. Like it was really. The thing is though, right? It was shit, and everyone can probably relate to this. But by like the time we sort of like got back to being able to train, I had kind of made my peace, and like I was doing cycling. Well, I just got a shit bike, and I'd literally just go out. It was like, imagine someone cycling on like a women's like shopping bike and doing it for exercise. That was me basically.
Okay.
Just like up and down the seafront. Like,
The
so
wind
it's not
blowing
like the people who've got like this the light crew and I'm getting into cycling now. There was none of that. It was just like
Like an aggressive Hovis advert.
yeah, that's it literally. But I liked it. It was fun. And so I was doing that. I had like my heart rate monitor so I could look at my times and like so there was a bit of sort of structure to it. I had my kettlebell training, which was shit, but like it was in like my kid's bedroom that we like cleared out. So that was like my office and like using it for like filming. It was shit. But I'd kind of met, and I was kind of like, I remember having the thought process of like, well, if I could never grapple again, like I'd just find cardio that I like and I'd lift and that would be okay. Like, and then the first session back with like the MMA guys, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? I was delusional.
I forgot how
I was
awesome this
basically
is.
like a prisoner of war. And being like, I guess this is all right. They give
Stockholm
me
syndrome.
food. Like, literally. I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, what? Like, I need to grapple every day. Every day, twice a day. So yeah, that was it was hard, but it was a weird time, wasn't it?
It was very weird.
There was such a like cohesive like togetherness of like everyone's in it together. Like you didn't really mind that like you weren't being able to do the things like you did mind, but at the same time it was almost like you're on an adventure at first.
And you knew everyone was in the same boat. It wasn't like, like you've got a big injury and you're off the mats and you have that little, oh man, everyone's able to train and I can't sort of thing. You just know that everyone is able to train. Everyone's not able to train. So it's like, everyone's got a gap.
And it was like a weird headspace. Like at first, like we were very like, well, you can't train, like you might fucking die. Like
it's a big unknown, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously as things have progressed, you sort of slightly changed the view. But like it's, So for COVID, like that was what it was. That was my longest time. But actually, sorry. My longest time off though was prior to that with like a bad back, basically. On reflection, it was a bad back.
Yeah.
Like I thought at the time that I'd like slipped a disc.
Right.
And it had been going on for like a couple of years, and there was a point where I was just like, I need to actually take some time off.
Yeah.
To like let it get better.
And was it from the mats you did this?
Actually, I think it was from a really shit deadlift.
Okay.
And then that sort of started it off, where I was chasing like 100 kilos when I first started lifting, and I didn't really know. I thought I knew. Well, maybe I did know. It would be interesting to watch that deadlift itself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it looked like, but I was chasing it, and then it sort of started hurting after that, and then doing jiu-jitsu, and I was just weak.
Yeah.
Like you kind of see this with people who start jiu-jitsu. They come in, they're a bit frail and a bit weak. It's tough, man. It's fucking hard on the body, isn't it?
It's got all your energy systems and
and people are like, oh, my shoulder's bad, my back's bad, and I'm like, you just need to get stronger.
Yeah.
Like you need to get bigger and stronger. Do jiu-jitsu for longer, and your body will kind of get used to the rigors, and it will slowly start toughening up. And I feel like now, like obviously I get injured all the time, so I'm fucking old and decrepit, but like I'm much tougher.
Yeah.
My body's much more resilient to the demands of the sport.
I definitely find that too.
I mean?
Yeah, definitely. You get stronger, and ideally you get more flexible as well. So that you are.
Yeah, although I feel like I used to be more flexible.
Yeah, you add age into that as well. It's like you are fighting a losing battle a bit, aren't you? Yeah.
But so I took like 6 months off, but that was actually really good. Like I think on reflection, when I look back, although I wouldn't necessarily advise someone, take 6 months off, go away, get fucking jacked. Not jacked, but like get bigger and stronger and then come back. I wouldn't advise people do that, but I might say you need to get bigger and stronger at the same time as doing jiu-jitsu. Because I took 6 months off, I was lifting 4 days a week, like proper strength program. I'd really got into my lifting by that, started working as a PT. So I kind of was really nerding out on it, like, just learning. Everything I looked at online was like, periodization, West Side, like all the like different schools of thought around like strength training and Olympic lifting. And that was my whole life at that point. So, and that was great because I was like chasing my squat. I did like, the best squats I've ever done, and good like cleans and clean and jerk and snatches, and really like going for those numbers. And so when I got back to jiu-jitsu, like I was much stronger. I had much more muscle, slightly more muscle. I'd had my first child during that period as well, so that disrupted my gains big time.
Yes. Yeah.
But it was what it was. But yeah, when I got back, everyone was like, "Oh, you're a lot stronger," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, all I've been doing for 6 months is like just fucking trying to get strong."
Yeah, right.
So I felt like actually that was really good when I got back because I felt much more able to deal with the sport.
And that's a good amount of time to make a big difference, isn't it? Especially if you're being consistent with it. 6 months is a good
and
chunk.
Especially if you've not really pushed strength training much.
Yeah.
You're going to get loads of newbie gains in that first 6 months. Like
stuff you've never had before.
Definitely. Especially if you. I mean, I wasn't that young. I was in my early to mid 30s. So, we got a delivery. Let me push the thing up. Food delivery.
See some crocs. Hello.
Thanks, babe. Oh, she doesn't want to be featured.
They just got shoved under the door
like prison.
Like we're in prison. Yeah.
We need a little hatch.
Although, if this is the kind of food you get in prison,
mate, it probably is. They're fucking balling in there, aren't they?
Yeah. I'll just pop these here.
Yeah. What? Where was I?
Gains and lifting and 6 months.
Yeah, so 6 months is a good amount of time to make newbie gains. It's a good amount of time to just see progress in the gym anyway. If you dedicate yourself and like if you've been going from like nothing or like light training into like 4 days a week of like heavy strength training, upper lower split, 2 upper 2 lower or whatever your organisation is, but like more than like 2 days a week and you're like hitting it and that's all you're doing, you'll see good progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see good progress.
I started in COVID, so I started by doing like classic, push-pull legs, split in the week. Same thing, trying to get that's what I've always done, back when before I did jiu-jitsu or kickboxing, and I was just going to the gym, I would always try and do like a push-pull leg split. And I started doing that, and then a friend of mine, I got together with him on FaceTime, and we would just do kettlebell like every morning.
Oh yeah.
Like really, we'd go really hard with it as well. Really got into it, and we were doing it really consistently. And then I was like smashing a bottle of wine every night, so just completely undoing it. And there were times in the morning where we'd get together. I'd be like, "Cool, let's get going. I may be sick." When it got to the point where we such a good routine, we'd get up at 6:30 in the morning. A friend of mine, he's a policeman now, but he's also since started jiu-jitsu as well. So we have some great chats about it. And we would always get up in the morning, black coffee, and then he'd do the same, and then we'd meet, and there'd always be one of us that would go, "Oh, I need to go and use the loo." And then it got to the point where we'd got this shorthand where there was always one of us that was late saying, "Sorry, I'm just having a shit." And we'd use the poo emoji. It's like cool. You just basically...
was that during COVID?
Yeah, that was
but
during lockdown.
But you were actually meeting live?
Yeah, we were doing it on FaceTime. It was really cool.
On FaceTime? Sorry,
yeah.
Not in person.
No, we weren't breaking any rules. We were just meeting on FaceTime. He lives in Kent, so it was kind of nice, and it was just really nice hang as well. It's a really nice way of just keeping in touch.
Yeah.
And we just smash out like an hour and a half workout in the morning, just set you up for the day sort of thing. But I felt like I got really strong. By the time I got back on the mats, I felt like I was able to use, I've got a fair bit of not natural strength, but I felt like I was able to use that more effectively once I was back on the mats because I'd built up. You know what kettlebells are like? You don't get I found you don't really get like sudden gains. You just get like thicker all over, don't you? You just kind of get a lot of core strength and a lot of,
Yeah, I think if you've got heavy enough kettlebells, they can be a useful modality.
Yeah.
I think some people they're trying to get strong and they've got like a 12 and a 16 and you're like, yeah that'll be okay for certain lifts. But like after a while, you need to get some like
get a 20, kettlebells. Get a 24 plus.
Yeah, like if you want to actually get strong, just using kettlebells, you need heavy.
Yeah.
Like I've got a 40 over there. That's pretty decent.
Because you need a mix for different moves, right?
Yeah,
different things. You need the more compound you get, the heavier you need to go.
Yeah.
But I remember the moment, and before I got back on the mats, the moment I noticed that I had this boost in strength, kids were playing on the trampoline and they had a Swiss ball they were chucking around. He was like, "Dad, throw it over here, just punch it and throw it over here." And I hit it and it flew over the hedges. I was just like...
The hedges are high as well.
Yeah, and it was like that moment in a superhero movie where you're like...
I've just got
with this power. So it was just like that moment of like, oh wow, this is really working.
Yeah.
I love kettlebells. I love doing kettlebells. It's low impact.
Yeah. During that time when I had time off, I got really into kettlebell training, and I was just got into all lifting. I just loved it.
Yeah,
it's kind of into powerlifting. Like I watched a lot of powerlifting, but I wasn't really a powerlifter. But I was deadlifting, I was squatting, really into Olympic lifting, really into kettlebells, and like I bought some kettlebells, and we were using them at home. I just bought 220s.
Yeah,
because I was just like, well, like. Anything less than that's going to be too light.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, I'm not strong.
Yeah.
And me and my mate, I set up the back room in the house as like a little gym, and we just used these 220s, and they were just way too heavy for us at the time.
Your form was at the window.
Yeah. So the workouts we were doing were just so hard.
Yeah.
Just like 10 swings into 10 cleans into like 10 push press, and then he'd go and then I'd go back and forth, and like it was like simple stuff, but because they were so heavy for us at the time, like we were just dead. It was fucking so
Torn
hard.
up.
But like that's all we had.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu at that time because I couldn't, and so that was good. It was like, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna have me ready. I'm gonna be ready for jiu-jitsu when I get back. But as soon as I got back, I realised like it didn't matter how fit I was from doing that, like it didn't transfer because I was still a blue belt, so I was still like spazzy and not very good, and it was just like I was just fuck that, it doesn't transfer. Like I'm not fit. I need to get back.
There's no substitute fully, is there?
Any conditioning modality is gonna improve your conditioning for jiu-jitsu, but you need to then be doing jiu-jitsu at the same time to get all those little bits, like the mental conditioning for jiu-jitsu, the technical tactical conditioning for jiu-jitsu. That stuff can only be done when you're doing jiu-jitsu. But like the general engine building, like going on a bike, a treadmill, a kettlebell, that's fine. Like it's gonna do something. You are getting physical adaptations, but then you need to be doing the actual thing that you want to be well conditioned for to do all the other specific bits that only come from doing that thing.
Yeah.
So like, even though you think, I've done all this stuff, I'm going to be well conditioned. It's like, well, yeah, but were you actually doing jiu-jitsu? No, well, you're not going to be well conditioned. You need to add those extra pieces in.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that you've built is actually going to be useful for that.
Yeah, for sure. No, you are right. I think it's also because you've got to the mental side of it as well as the game side of it. You need to be fit enough to be able to get through all that. And I think that as you say, it will help. But there's just no substitute for just training, is there?
No.
We're good.
No, you were saying about that OCD thing of like checking your car.
Right.
Like I feel like that about the camera.
You think it's gonna be dead?
I'm just like, no, not that it's dead, but I'm like, did I press record?
Oh wow, yeah. I do it with the car.
Else get that? I get that at night with my phone alarm. I set it, then I check who's in my sessions in the morning, and then I'm like, did I set it? Go back and set it. Okay.
Do you ever do it and then set it for like a minute's time to make sure it makes a sound?
I don't do that with my phone alarm, but I'll do that with my oven timer.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can set the oven timer to turn the oven off. But then I'm like, is this the one?
Yeah.
So I'll set it for a minute, and then it's turned. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. I do it more with locks, like the lock of the car, the house locks. Vic will tell you. I go around the house a few times just checking because we live in the middle.
You live in the middle of nowhere.
We live in the middle of nowhere.
To get
but then if someone is coming to get me, I've got to defend the castle. There's fucking no one around.
That is true. Yeah, but you've got some pretty decent axes.
Yeah.
You got a gun?
I have got a air rifle, but I don't know. This raises a mad question. I don't really have any like weapon.
You've got a fucking big axe. That's a weapon.
No. But what I mean is, I don't have a weapon like by the side of the bed. Because I can't help but think, if the house gets invaded by two nut jobs, anything you've got in your hand that you're going to try and attack with could effectively be taken off you
and used
against you. And I just think it's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, it's a question for the wider audience. What would you do? I'm still a bit like, I have a pair of trainers by the side of the bed.
So you can run away.
So I can run away and just run from my family, just so I can get a grip on the floor.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah. Love you.
Ben, you're in charge.
Just so I can, have grip on the floor and go outside. And Vic thinks I'm mental, but I'm just like,
I don't have any preparation or anything.
Right, okay.
I did have like a metal bar by the side of the bed, but the problem is I've got 3 kids. 3 boys.
Yeah, that's the other side
and
of
it. And so
it.
they then they're coming in our room, and then one of them picked up the metal bar, and then they're beating each other up, and it had like a sharp bit on the end. I was like, I just need to get rid of this.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's like in the States, you know, they have. It's so normal.
If I had a gun, for sure, it would be under my bed. Maybe.
But
No, but the
then
thing is, the gun needs to be somewhere where the kids can't get it.
That's it, and there's a whole statistic about kids being, you know, killed by guns because parents have got them in their house. But then they'll have the gun in the house, but then they'll have the bullets in like a safe.
Yeah.
It's like, how quickly can you get from the gun to the safe if the axe murderer is in the house?
You should probably have two locked things with different codes near it. I've no idea about gun safety, so please inform me if I'm wrong. But near each other, let's say in your, like, under your bed, and then you can slide them both out, get it all going, and then go and deal with whatever's going on.
I guess, yeah.
Because there's no point in, like, if there's a house invasion, you've got your gun, but the bullets are over the other side.
That's what I mean.
What the fuck is the point?
Exactly that, yeah. It's a hard one to kind of get right, I think, when you've got kids.
Yeah. The thing is, you can't just have weapons lying around. Like I'm looking at my axe, and the kids will come and play in the garage. Obviously, I'm usually here with them, but sometimes they will let themselves in, and then I'll come along like a couple of minutes later and check what they're doing. But I'm like, well, that axe is fucking sharp. I've nearly chopped my leg off with that axe.
It's razor sharp.
Yeah, so there's no way I'm letting the boys even touch it.
No.
Like, so I'm like, I need to put this somewhere, so I mounted it as high as I could.
Like, we've got reach to get to it, haven't we?
Yeah, that's it. Luckily, they're all quite, like, they're not sensible by any means, but, like, if I'm like, that will fucking kill you, they're generally like, oh, I don't want to touch that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm sure there'll come a time where they're like,
yeah, Ben's a bit like, really? How quickly? In what way? To be fair, Violet's a bit like that too.
Yeah.
They're mad. Yeah, it's a tricky. It's something I've toiled with for a while. Is what do you do? What's the best weapon if you need one that you can use that's easily kind of you can keep hold of it, but isn't going to get taken off you. But your kids aren't going to be able to use it. Pick it up and use it as a weapon against each other.
Yeah, I don't really
Tricky
worry
one.
about them taking it off me. Like, I feel like I'm going to cause enough damage before they get it off me.
But I'm thinking worst case scenario. What's just 3 of them? You know, it's
for me like so we're on one floor when we're sleeping. The kids are in the other room.
Yeah,
we're there, and then the stairs go down. If I've got a weapon, I'm probably going to stand at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, use the small corridor theory.
They'll funnel up the stairs, and I'll just be hacking at them.
Very Spartan of you, that.
Yeah, and kicking down the stairs. And so, like, someone's getting fucking chopped up.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, where do you hide the axe? Interesting. Maybe I need to find a place in the bedroom for the axe. There is a cupboard next to the boiler cupboard next to our door. I could mount it in there, but the thing is, I feel like I'd have to tell the boys because I don't want them to find it and be like, "Oh, we found the axe."
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm like, the fucking axe is in there, do not touch it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will die.
Yeah.
I won't kill you. I'm not saying that. But it will.
Do you know what would work even better?
Because then they'll be like, "Oh my god, don't touch the axe."
Or I'll take your screens away.
Yeah,
Which
we
is
don't
way
really
more
give
effective.
them many screens at the moment.
Oh, they don't have any screens anyway?
No. Yeah.
What's important to
They've
them?
only got the TV. What is important to them? Yeah, they're Pokemon cards.
There you go. There's something you can use.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's all about destroying what they love, isn't it?
Yes.
The threat
Gotta
of.
know how to cripple them. Yeah, interesting one. Yeah, not sure about that. I mean, at the moment, it's just me naked at the top of the stairs.
Which is enough to scare them off, you reckon?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Come up, boys. I'm ready.
Yeah. Who was it you said about that? About if someone gets aggressive with you or something and just pull your pants down. Was it you said about that?
No, that sounds like a Brian thing.
Maybe it was a Brian thing. It was. He said whoever it was who told me, they said a really good defence thing is if you sort of get accosted by a group of lads and they're like, fucking come on then, just pull your pants down and start
I
going.
was in that conversation. I think. Yeah,
because they have a dump of adrenaline because they're just like, "Why this guy's weird? Why is he doing that?"
Yeah,
because you don't seem at all intimidated, but also you're like, "That's not the correct reaction," sort of thing.
Just to confuse them.
Yeah,
I like that.
Maybe it was that conversation we had with Cole about self-defence at the judo.
I don't think Colin would have said that.
No, I don't think it was Cole that said it, but it was during that whole interaction.
Yeah,
Maybe it was Mike.
Could have been Mike. That's sort of a weird thing Mike would say. I can't remember what the question actually was. Oh, it was about time.
Wasn't about home invasion, was it? We're spat off on the right tangent there, aren't we? Bloody hell.
What was the actual question?
Injury. How long was? What's the longest time you've been off the mat, and how did it affect your jiu-jitsu progress?
So I think jiu-jitsu progress. Obviously, there was no jiu-jitsu progression per se.
Yeah.
I did at first. I was watching. I was really into like Keenan. It's when he was like coming up and he was producing a lot of content. I was watching a lot of his stuff. I was watching like the Worlds, where any jiu-jitsu competition would come on, I'd watch it. And then after a while, this is when I was off my back, I stopped watching jiu-jitsu because I was like, it's too painful.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
Watch anymore.
I know, yeah.
And then I switched to just watching like weightlifting and powerlifting and things like that, and that was kind of my thing. But yeah, I felt like that period of time off strength training was good. Obviously, my I didn't feel like much worse at jiu-jitsu when I came back. It wasn't great anyway, because I feel like I'd had time to like go away and digest everything that I've ever learned, and then it sort of assimilated, and then I was like, oh, actually, I don't feel like I just felt a bit rusty.
Yeah.
I just needed to like get my timing back, and then it was fine.
It's reassuring, isn't it? I managed to procure some jigsaw mats at home, and it was during that period that I was a white belt then. That was the period that my son Ben got into it. So we just did loads of like basic drills and made it fun and
it's awesome.
Animal drills and things like that. It was really cool. And it was back when, so at our gym we had training bubbles. Back when it was, they were just starting to let people kind of get together in little groups, weren't they? And they had tape all over the mat, and you had your own little square. Do you remember that? And I would take Ben. I had a little adult bubble, but on the Saturdays before the juniors class really got going, when it was like a family class, and me and Ben would just go and train. It was great.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
The bubbles was, I bubbled up with Brad, who's like an absolute cardio 90 kilo like
Machine.
copper, like also incredibly sweaty, so it's impossible to keep hold of him. He's gonna outwork you. He's bigger than you. He's very good. So that was fun. And Che, who's like
Urukai.
big. He's a sumo wrestler. So let's just you know. And he does loads of horrible catch wrestling things. He's just like a horrible person to roll with.
He's got a plethora of nasty moves.
Yeah,
in his trick bag, hasn't he?
These two guys bubbled up with them. I'm like 80 kilos, and I remember like I got like a weird rib injury, like where the rib like attaches into the spine.
Right.
That got like sprained, and it was like it wasn't bad enough to not train, but like as the session went on, it would get worse and worse, and then it would be kind of better, and you go and train again, it would get worse and worse. So I went and saw this physio, and he was like, "Yeah, it's like a sort of, it was like a costochondrial like rib." Like separation or something like that. I'm probably getting the name wrong.
Right.
Anyway, he said like, yeah, it's like you've been like, it's kind of like a sort of injury that would happen if you've been like crushed by something heavy. And I'm like, yes,
That's about right.
that's Che. I'm like inverting, trying to get into the legs, and he's just like
Folds you up like a deck chair.
I'm like, I know his name. So that was fun. So I was glad when the bubbles. I mean, great training, thanks guys. But I was glad when the bubbles got expanded out.
It was nice to kind of just fully get back on the mat. So that moment walking on was just like, because you just feel like I just got to the stage with Vic, yourself just miserable. You're just like, I really want to go and train. And when you find that first moment when you go back on, it's just like, amazing.
It's amazing how much it gives you, isn't it, in lots of different areas of your life. It's how it sort of keeps you ticking over.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And how aggy you get when you don't get it. It's a release of a lot, isn't it? Like, energy, but also like your aggression and frustration, and do you know what I mean? It's a workout for the body and the mind, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's necessary. Necessary. What's next? What we got next?
My phone keeps dying on me. What's the next? What's the first move you remember being taught in jiu-jitsu? I think for me it was the Kimura from guard. So that was the day when I was, like I said last time, couldn't even work out that your legs were the guard, and I was reaching over for a Kimura. I think I elbowed the guy in the face.
Probably.
As I did. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I think that was the first one, and it kind of almost made sense because it was like, it's just like putting your arm up your back, like when you get arrested. Yeah, like a policeman. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the first one for me. What about you?
I think it might have been an armbar from Mount.
Right.
And he like showed it like where you like put both your hands on their chest, like you're going to give CPR and around one arm, and then you step it. Real like basic. I imagine, because he was like a good black belt at the time, the guy who taught it to us, and I imagine he probably looked around and thought it's like the beginners, so let's do it in this way.
Break it down.
One of the first moves I remember learning was an underhook escape from side control, So like your far side arm, you get the underhook, so the one that's furthest away from them that would be framing on their chin,
Yeah.
their neck. You get the underhook, and then you kind of like get to your knees and turn it into like a single leg.
Okay.
And then almost like sort of run the pipe in a way. Not
Yeah,
really
yeah.
run the pipe, but like wrestle up on the single leg
Yeah.
and then get them down.
You used to have that as part of one of your little systems, didn't you?
Yeah. Like, and now I would teach that. Like, it's good. And there's details in there, and you're like, this move works. But I remember at the time, obviously being very weak, frail, like, I just thought, this is never going to work. Like, I can barely do this against the guy who I'm drilling it with.
Yeah.
Like,
Let alone
I'm
with
trying
resistance.
to get his weight off me. Like, and I think he was a bit bigger than me. He was quite a sort of well-built guy. But I'm just like, this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
And that's something I always think back to now when new people are in. Like, how sometimes they'll just be like, oh, you know, they'll be frustrated that the move's not working or something. And I'm like, yeah, like, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, at first, things feel really hard.
Yeah.
But you'll come back to that move in like 5-10 years' time, whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, yeah, it's easy.
It's easy.
Like,
I remember,
you know?
yeah, definitely. The first time that I was trying to regain guard from like, you know, mount or whatever. You shove on, you're pushing the leg, you get that first leg, but trying to shrimp the other way once you've got that other leg, it's like, that's not going to work because you're against it, you know. And
It's pinned, like it's trapped, you can't do it.
yeah, but you just have to aggressively do it, and eventually you find a little hole to do it. It's those little penny drops are great in jiu-jitsu where you convince yourself this ain't going to work. Like I remember the first real time that happened for me was when it was like a bolo. A little bit later on, and it's kind of like, you know, the one I do from cradle where you grab one of the legs and then you bolo and you turn it into a back take. And I forget what position we were in, but I was mounted somehow and I had one of his legs and he was like, right, so just roll that way. Whereas normally you'd think you're going to roll, so say towards your left, you're going to roll that way normally, but you're going to roll the other way. I was like, how's that going to work? I'm not going to do it. And then as soon as I went to roll, everything fell into place and I took his back. I was like, oh my God.
It's like magic.
It's like magic, totally.
yeah.
I was like, hellfire, that's amazing. Those little penny drops are great. And you're just like, wow, this really is like a cool thing.
Can you imagine
doing.
going to your first jiu-jitsu lesson and it just so happens that you're learning bolos? You'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Just Jedi shit.
Be quite cool, but
Yeah.
That's like, what would you teach in your first? What do you think the perfect first lesson is? I'm gonna read. I need to read. I'm gonna reach down.
The perfect first lesson.
Yeah. Because this is something I've thought about a lot.
I think it would probably be something to do with closed guard.
Closed guard.
Yeah, because it's like teach a closed guard attack like a Kimura or an armbar, and then teach a standing guard pass to the other person and get him to do a restricted rounds, you know, king of the hill sort of thing. I think that's probably the most basic. You say, like an armbar from mount, something like that. I'd probably go closed guard and like a Kimura or something. Just because of my experience, I find it, you know, it's the most kind of one of the most fundamental, and it gets you used to the fact that your legs are in play.
Yeah, teachers like that the guard's actually not a bad place to be.
Yeah,
Being on bottom can be good.
yeah, definitely.
A lot of jiu-jitsu is playing from the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can shoot lots of stuff off that in a series. You know, shrimping, sort of, you know, standing up and sort of restarting, and there's loads of stuff you can kind of lots of places you can go from there. But that in itself is quite a cool little interplay that you can have on a basic level.
Yeah, I'd agree. Something that introduces playing off the bottom, and then in that same position, something that gives people something from the top, and then positional sparring from those positions. Do you think people should spar straight away?
That's a tricky one, isn't it? I think maybe, I don't know, there's an argument for both, isn't there? Because, I mean, people are there to do jiu-jitsu, to try jiu-jitsu. So you could, on the one hand, you could say, well, you want to give them the opportunity to spar. But some people might be not up for that. And they want to just learn the jiu-jitsu side of it. So to keep them in, you know, interested in it, you might not want to let them do spar, or not make them do it. Maybe give people the choice. So people that want to do it, you can jump in, and people that don't want to do it, you do want to be doing this eventually. But if you don't want to right now because you feel a bit like a fish out of water, then that's fine, sort of thing. What do you think?
I think if you go to your first jiu-jitsu lesson and you don't want to spar, I don't think you're going to last.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've got the right mentality.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are loads of examples of when to say, oh, I'm wrong, I've been training 10 years and I didn't want to spar in my first session. That's fine. Yeah. And I'll tell you a personal story of mine that would actually counteract my point that I just made. But, yeah, I think if you're like, oh, yeah, I'm well up for this, but I don't want to spar today, it's like, well, what's holding you back, buddy? Just get involved.
Yeah.
Not what you're scared of.
I think some people, it's...
put them with the right person.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Talk them into it and be like, look, it doesn't... You don't need to be good at this.
Yeah.
In fact, I expect you to be shit.
Yeah.
This is your first lesson.
Yeah.
So you're going to go out there. I'm going to put you with that guy. He knows the score. It's your first lesson. He's going to help you out. He's not going to rough you up, but he's going to resist and he's going to talk you through it a little bit and, And then maybe I'll put you with that guy and... we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe he will rough you up a little bit, but that's kind of it. You can tap at any time.
Yeah.
If you feel like any of it's getting too intense and you want it to stop, you tap and you reset.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And you don't have to do it. I'm not forcing you to do it. There's a door over there. You can walk out anytime.
Yeah.
But this is part of the process, and it's your first lesson. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But let's just try and see what it's like.
Yeah.
And tell everyone, oh, this is my first lesson. I'm a little bit nervous. Can we sort of... And people are nice. They're not going to be like, well done, mate. Yeah. Get ready.
Yeah.
Fuck you up. I mean, some people would. But.
Yeah. But I don't know. They tend to get weeded out in jiu-jitsu, don't they? Am I right? It's.
But I think if people are just like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, this probably ain't for you then.
Yeah, and also, you're probably right. I think the nature of jiu-jitsu, you can tap at any time, and it's, you're not getting punched in the head.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that dangerous.
Yeah.
It is dangerous in a way, but isn't. Yeah. You're not going into live sparring in boxing, and obviously people can spar lightly, but sometimes someone might throw a bit of a wild punch. And, you might get knocked out.
Or it just hurts. And you just feel...
just repeated punch, you get a headache, you've got a light concussion after the session. That's not good for you, is it?
No. Yeah.
But funnily enough, the first jiu-jitsu lesson I ever went to was probably about 3-ish years before I actually started doing jiu-jitsu. And I was really weak then. It was a gym that I'd started going to, and this was when I first ever started lifting weights. So I was probably I don't know how much I weighed, but I was frail, and I was a proper stoner. And I'd just been watching the UFC and following the Gracie sort of thing, and getting really into jiu-jitsu online. And at the gym I was going to, Colin, our coach now, ran lessons. And I didn't know him at the time. And I was like, fucking hell, it's jiu-jitsu at the gym I go to. This is crazy. So I went along, and he said oh, you can watch if you want. If he hadn't have said that, I think I would have done the class, because I was there to do the class. But because he gave me that option, I was just oh yeah, okay, I'll watch.
Yeah, okay.
And sat on the sidelines, shitting myself. And back then it was people that did it, it was a lot of tough guys, Dortmund, things like that. And I remember just looking at the class thinking nah. I'm not.
What is this?
These guys are all muscly, tattoo bound, Dorman sort of types, and it was no gi, and they were doing single leg takedowns, I think. And I remember just thinking well, I'm not going to be able to win, am I? These guys are fucking animals. What am I going to do? This is crazy. So I just sort of watched, and I probably left halfway through. Oh yeah, I'll come back next week.
Not a chance.
Yeah, and then later, probably a couple of years later, my friend was doing it. So then I was my friend's going, and I thought, I could beat him. He's, he was a sort of nice guy, but I remember thinking I could beat him up. Actually, I probably couldn't have, because he did Wing Chun and he did jiu-jitsu for probably a month or two. Probably just beat shit out of me. But in my head, I was but I'm cooler, sort of I use the gym. He's a bit of a nerd. I beat him up.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But actually, the reality was I probably wouldn't.
Man. That's the funny thing about jiu-jitsu as well, isn't it? You get these tiny little brown belts taking their glasses off in the changing rooms. They just look like the tiniest little guy. And meanwhile, they could tie you in fucking knots. It's crazy, isn't it?
But yeah, so I do get it when people go to their first lesson that they're a bit scared, they don't want to spar. But like, I think if the instructor sort of speaks to them properly, like they should be like, look, this is why you're here. Let's do it. We'll do it in a safe way. We're not gonna like smash you. Like, but
Maybe you could put a little like, is anybody before we spar? Is anybody kind of got any concerns about sparring? And if anybody puts a hand up, be like, okay, cool. I'll make sure I put you with someone safe. Sort of thing. You know, because you want to make people that are worried about it sort of reassured at the same time, right? You don't want them to think, oh no, fuck, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to, you know.
But then I worry about like the pussification of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like,
I do know what you mean.
are we like catering to people? Oh, look, okay, well look, we'll do your first round and like there'll be no submissions and they'll go right. Like sometimes I'm like I remember when I first started, there was none of that.
Yeah.
Like. It was hard rounds, and like you just first started, you're fighting for your life.
Yeah,
but like that,
definitely.
there was like you benefited from that.
Yeah,
it was like do or die. Like obviously not fighting for your life, but you don't know. Like you're a white belt, you don't understand that. Like
it's a very uncomfortable, unnatural position to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, fuck, like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you finish a round, you're like, oh man, like fuck, and then you do the next round, and maybe the guy like subs you like 10 times, you're like, man, that guy was so good. And then the next round you manage to get on top, you're probably like, oh, you're like holding him for like 5 minutes.
So
you think,
much.
fucking hell, I won that round.
Yeah.
You know, the guy just let you do it, and he's just like, man, this guy's going crazy. Like all these like crazy like things are going on, and like, but that you're learning a lot in those periods, and like you're doing or dying at the end of the day. And like some people are going to be like, nah, this ain't for me. Other people are like, this is fucking amazing. Like. I don't know. Like I don't want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like it's good luck, buddy. Trial by fire.
Yeah.
Like and then if he comes to me at the end, he's like, "Oh, I love that." I'm like, he's the guy.
Yeah.
Like whereas if they're like, "Oh no, like I hated that," and you think that's fine. Just go and do something else.
Yeah. I can understand that. Well, I mean, even now, I don't know whether you still get this, but I still get this when you're sat on the mats and you just lock eyes with someone and sort of you're like, yeah, okay, cool. This is going to be a tough round. You know what I mean? But you do it, you know, it's just part of it.
Yeah. Well, there are people that I know, like, that I will roll with at some point in the week, but there are certain sessions where I'm just like, I can't be dealing with that today. Like, like me and Dusty today, like, we're going to do 3 rounds, and Dusty just said, should we get out of the way first round? I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that one, mate.
It's probably going to be the hardest round of the session. And I'm like, well, I can do the other 2 rounds, and then we can go in tired into this round, which is going to be shit. Or we can just get it out of the way now and then go and do the other 2 seconds. Like,
funny how it works, isn't it?
Yeah. But, right, what was the last question?
So, well, Brian...
Did we actually answer that question? What was that question?
It was long. The first move you remember being taught? Yeah, I feel like we answered that question.
Smash that.
Yeah, smash that one. Well, there's one about the colour combination.
Go on then.
So if you really... Nick Casey, thanks Nick, said, if you really run out of topics, what's the best colour combination in the gi for each belt level? Well, I used to quite like wearing my blue gi with the white belt. I think the white, it wasn't a look I went for.
It's very new, isn't it?
It's very newbie. Yeah.
Let's forget about white.
So from blue
nothing matters when you're a white belt. Let's move on from there.
So your first proper belt, you mean?
Yeah.
So I always feel. I mean, I know a lot of people when they first get their blue belt, they want to wear like a white gi so the blue stands out. I didn't give a shit about that. I used to wear all blue, didn't I?
Yeah. I do like the pop of colour, any belt level against the white gi. I do like that. I do like that.
I think if there is a pop of colour for me, I prefer it against the black gi. I think
that's cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the brown and black fits nice with purple. They all look good against the black gi.
Yeah.
I think the blue, like the purple and blue, I'm not like that's clashing for me. Brown and blue is okay.
It's funny you say that. Ever since getting my purple belt, I've stopped wearing my blue gi.
Really?
Because the day I got my purple belt, I was wearing a blue gi, and I just don't like the mix of the two colours.
I think it depends on the blue. Like if it's like really faded, washed out, like 1990s, like jiu-jitsu. Like,
okay.
And then you put the purple against that, it's like, nah, that looks crap. But like nowadays, there's more like navy and like French navy sort of style blues.
Yeah, I've got one of them.
That's quite nice.
Yeah, but like the royal blue.
Which
is my one. It's just I just don't like the two colours together.
No, fair.
But yeah, the black, and I've definitely been wearing my black gi with the purple more now. I mean, the purple's a good one because you know you're unlikely to find a purple gi at a lot of gyms.
Yeah, I've never
So you're
seen
not-
a purple gi, I don't think.
No.
I've seen like a pink gi and
Yeah.
weird colours, but yeah, very rarely see a purple gi.
Yeah. So there's always going to be against a different colour for me.
I think black just looks fucking cool and anything.
Yeah, even black and black. That looks
It's a black
sick.
belt, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't
Yeah. It's like the
cool.
absolute opposite of the white and white, isn't it?
When I first got my black belt, people were like, how does it feel being a black belt? And all I could just say was like, it's fucking cool.
Did you
They're
get?
like, oh, is it like harder rolling? Or what? And I'm just like, just forget about that.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like, you're
matter.
a fucking black belt.
None of it
It's
matters.
fucking cool.
You've made it. Did you find that you had? I think we've talked about this before. Like, not imposter syndrome, but did you feel like you were, like, a period of time where you were just like, I just can't believe it. Can't believe I got there, sort of thing.
Kind of. I think. Oh, just bit my lip.
Nice. Choice moment in life,
Yeah.
isn't it?
One of the first sessions after getting my black belt was just like a really shit session.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I think like one of the blue belts like caught me in a triangle and like it was just a shit session. I think I'd been like ill or I was a bit hungover or something like that. So there was a reason why I wasn't feeling great. But like I wanted to go in and like smash everyone because I'm like fucking black belt. It might have even been my first session afterwards that Monday. I think it was Monday no gi.
Okay.
And yeah, one of the blue belts caught me in a legit like good triangle. Like, you know, sometimes people catch you and you think, well, it's because we started in a position or I let you get somewhere and then you caught me. And, you know, like the submission was good, but I would have never let you get to mount. So
Yeah,
you
okay.
wouldn't have really got it. But he fucking caught me in it.
Yeah.
Like in garden, I was like trying to get out and I was like,
Fair play.
right, he's just tapped black belt.
Yeah.
Fucking-
Yeah. Damn it.
I'm fucking going on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly. Part of his Insta story.
But yeah, so but like apart from that, like I was like, actually no, like I feel like I don't know, like because I think you're just very aware that like you're a new black belt and the depth of black belt is the deepest belt of any belt. You're going all the way up to like the best guy in the world, and then everything filters down from there, and like old guys who have got fucking decades of knowledge at black belt, like so the depth is just so deep. So I didn't feel like I don't deserve to be a black belt. I felt like, yeah, I've put in my time. I was like a brown belt for like fucking 2.5 years or something like that, like nearly 3 years I think, or it was a long time. So I was like, I feel like I'm ready. Like I've been teaching for a long time, I've been competing, and won golds at like brown belt and things, but like, but yeah, it was just sometimes you have those sessions where you're just like,
Yeah.
fuck's sake,
Mate, it's so frustrating. isn't it?
leaping out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I definitely had the same when I got my purple. A bit of imposter syndrome.
I had it more at every other belt.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But I had a string of shit sessions as well, and I think I got ill as well. I was just I think it was like not COVID, but it just had that kind of like chestiness to it. I was just gassing out on the mats, and do you know what I mean? It's just, but then also I think you can also get yourself at it when you get a new belt. It's bittersweet, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, amazing, you know, I've made it to that stage, and then you get back on your, and I find you could put yourself under too much pressure. So, well, I need to now be like 20% better at everything.
yeah.
And when you're not, always, it's like, oh man, do I deserve this?
Yeah. It's hard.
But actually, I guess, you know, Cole's, or, you know, any good coach is spotted that you're there anyway, and the belt's just the last bit.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And really, it's just like the next step on your journey. It's like, I think each belt level comes with its own like sort of jobs, if you like. So,
Yeah.
you know, you get your purple belt and it's like, right, now the time is to start filling in all those gaps. Like start getting a good base in everything in to do with grappling. Like you need to have a fairly good base on like all your stand up. You need to understand like all the leg locking positions and start filling in that stuff. You know, guard every position. If someone said to go show me like two things in each position, you should have those.
Yeah.
And you should be able to execute those in sparring because you don't want to get to brown belt and have like gaping holes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, I'm rubbish at stand up. It's like,
Yeah.
you're a brown belt, man. Like,
Yeah,
you shouldn't
yeah.
be rubbish at stand up. It
Yeah.
should be all right. Like,
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'm not saying you should be out there like fucking double legging everyone and like doing Uchimatas and all this sort of stuff, but like you should at least have some stuff and understand like some of the battles and the principles.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, purple belt was about filling in those gaps. Like, I went deep on the leg locks, started doing stand up, which I'd never really done, getting into that, and the rest of the stuff I felt pretty good with. And so it was sort of plugging in those two holes. And then brown belt, you're just refining.
Yeah.
You're just getting deeper in all those areas which you should already have a good knowledge of.
Yeah.
And then it's just refining and building and building and building. But to black belt, I think. And again, black belt is just constant refining of just going back to the basics and just getting everything better and better. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, so it's less like, right, you're a purple belt, you need to be performing at this level. And it's more like, right, it's like it's unlocked a load of new like sub-quests that you need to start. I feel
Zelda
like it's
analogy,
better.
I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. So that's the first thing when Rob Houghton said to me, he was like, "Oh, well done, mate." He said, "Yeah, you definitely deserve that." I was like, "Oh, really?" He said, "All I feel like I can see the massive holes in my game, but I guess that's the right mindset."
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Like, you get promoted to purple belt. The thing about it like this, phone battery died. We were deep in. You didn't really miss anything, to be honest. Like,
Just pull the muscle in my neck looking at you.
We're so old. But yeah, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Send us money. Yeah, come round and say well done.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Give us
And
cash while you do that. That's fine.
yeah.
You know.
We're going to do the shit or legit in a minute. I'm going to charge my phone, then we're going to get that in. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Right. Shit or legit. We're just going to watch the video first just to get the details down of exactly what we're doing. But this is like a kind of heel hook, but using your legs from like a double underpass position where you've kind of pulled their legs up and they're on your lap. It looks viable, but like, I'm not sure. I've tried this fairly extensively one night in the no-gi session and got into the position okay with a few people. It is a bit of a struggle, especially if they're slippery, but and tried to finish it a couple of times, but no bueno. So not sure on this one.
Where did you send it?
Oh no, here it is. Right, so he gets the double under, he puts that down. He kind of rotates his arm to finish it, to pull the knee back.
Yep. Okay.
Right, let's give it a go. Right, so we get into the double under position, kind of pulls the legs together, folds one down and over the top, steps over and catches the toes, and then he pulls that back to get the finish.
Yeah, but it's more just on. It's not when you do it on the heel.
Should be, I think it should. I'm not sure about that.
Weird position. Nah, it's not getting my heel.
Give it a go on me.
Yeah, it's bugging me here.
Yeah, well, they should be like, I mean, if it's a heel hook, you should be feeling it like maybe in the foot, but also the knee.
Yeah, okay.
Like that's why I'd be tapping too, as always tap to the knee on a heel.
Looking like.
Oop.
Hang on. A little bit.
Just clip it onto your head.
Yeah. Something like that. So
then fold, this arm comes in and folds that down like this.
That?
No, and then you hold over the top
okay.
like that.
And then you step over like that.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of
And then he was kind of pulling this knee back to get the finish.
like that.
Yeah.
It's making you pull a face.
Yeah. It is making me pull a face, but...
So let me just try that again. So if we can get a bit of a sort of butterfly grip or something. Does that do anything?
Yeah, not really.
It's annoying here, I find.
Yeah.
You really get a grip
And
there.
I'm thinking like, I'm just going to be kind of coming in here.
Yeah, I mean, we hadn't even got into
Yeah.
how you'd like escape it.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Just so if you,
I'll try it on your other leg.
yeah.
So
if I feel
this folds down. I just feel so tight. Stepping over.
Yeah, I feel like I've stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I just pushed that out.
But even if you don't, like, I feel like the submission, like...
Yeah. I mean, there's a knee bar, kind of.
I was finding more on this leg.
Yeah.
But...
That as the move that it's advertised as.
Come here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, I've seen 2 people have shared this, and they got like 50 million views. It's shit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Like, I tried this, on like 3 or 4 different people. managed to get into the positions, got into that like grabbing the legs, the double under sort of thing. Managed to fold it down. The folding down is hard enough. And then stepping over, I got into it deep with 2 people, and they just sort of looked at me like, "Is this one of those moves that you're trying?" And they're like, "No, it's not doing anything."
It looks cool, but I don't think it's very effective.
It's good for the gram, but
Yeah.
that's shit.
Yeah.